understand that scrubs are just a part of this program.
This morning's launch was scrubbed for the much-anticipated Artemis mission to the moon. Issues arose during countdown that caused NASA to hold off on the launch. In the meantime, our Brian White is learning of an SDSU alumna's contribution to the Artemis program.
Great things are worth waiting for, and as NASA regroups for another potential launch later this week, I want to tell you about a connection Artemis 1 has with SDSU.
This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell-Thompson has called a scrub.
The most powerful rocket ever built by NASA did not leave the launch pad this morning after several issues were detected, including a fuel leak and engine 3 was not cooling properly.
The exhaust is thousands of degrees, and so you got to cool those engines down or else they'll melt. So there's lines of coolant that go into them and keep it cool. They were testing those lines to make sure that they could cool down the engines, and one of them did not cool down.
SDSU Professor of Astronomy Robert Quimby is also director of the Mount Laguna Observatory, and he's been following the work of an SDSU alumna, Shide Naderi, who now works for NASA on a team involved with the Artemis program.
She's come up with a system for how we can move the fuel, this very, very cold fuel, from one place to another in a harsh environment like the moon. She came up with a way using magnets to actually make sure, first of all, your couplings stay together and you don't have to fuss with them. They'll just pop right together. And to make sure that that's going to transfer your fuel without having problems with moon dust.
Naderi's accomplishments with NASA are inspiring other young women at SDSU in the aerospace engineering program.
Knowing that there's space for SDSU at NASA is inspiring, and it definitely lets us know that, okay, if we work hard, stay disciplined, stay focused, we can achieve these opportunities just like they did.
Kaylin Borders and Nathalia Del Callejo are leaders in the Women in Aeronautics and Astronautics Club at SDSU. And they say even though the launch didn't happen, progress was made.
Even though it's a scrub launch, it's not a failed launch, because in the end, like the engineers still learned from it and are able to make those changes and make the next opportunity an even better one. That way, once this rocket does hold humans, it will be absolutely safe.
NASA says the next available window to launch will be this Friday, September 2nd. At SDSU, I'm Brian White for CBS 8.